do that, so we're shit out of luck.
All right, I'm gonna join in on my phone.
Okay. Oh no. You guys like my fancy pink cup? Ain't that nice? Matches Katie's shirt. Oh, I know we're waiting on Greg, but I am very, very ready to talk about this episode. I got up this morning. Share the link. Yeah, I got up this morning and I watched it again just to be extra prepared. And all right, there he is. That works. Can't hear you, Greg.
Did not connect to audio.
Got to connect your audio.
Oh, there we go.
There we are. Now we can hear you.
Your little work.
For now.
This thing is hot. I don't get how Mando wears it all the time.
I would imagine he's probably got some kind of cooling system in his, if I was guessing. I mean, if Iron Man's got a cooling system in his, we're talking way further to the future. Mando's got to have a cooling system.
This is true. I don't know about that. Look, I got my
Leia.
Yes.
Over Ben. I love it.
That sounded kind of dirty, honestly.
All right, guys. Y'all ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, I'm going to hit record. And 3, 2, 1. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode, or technically, I guess this is the second part of an episode of Star Wars Alliance.
Mm-hmm.
I'm one of your hosts, Katie Yelstrap. With me, my co-host, as always, he's in this corner, Nathan. Nathan, how are you doing?
Doing great this morning, Katie. I'm really looking forward to talking. Look forward to hearing everybody's opinion and thoughts on this episode.
Yes, Marshall. We have some special guests with us. Ooh, who am I hearing from?
I don't know. I heard the echo.
You probably heard it from me as well. Put my headphones on. Yeah.
There we go.
I was like, I bet they hear an echo, so I had to put my headphones on.
Well, there you go. You heard him. Greg is joining us once again for the second part of the episode. Greg, how are you doing?
Doing fantastic. Second time this week, too. That's great. I'm all Star Wars out this week. Yeah. So it's fantastic to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Welcome, Taylor.
Got my Star Wars shirt on.
Welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you very much for the invite.
Yes, glad to have you. So kind of how we're gonna structure
like muffins
today.
And Mando.
Muffins and Mando.
Coffee, muffins, and Mando. That's gonna be our little side episodes within Star Wars Alliance.
I like it.
Coffee and Mando, muffins and Mando. I'm gonna have to make muffins one day now.
Right.
But guys, just to kind of tell you how it's gonna work, because it's the first time we're gonna do this. We're gonna go through. Oh, we have another guest, Clay.
Hey.
What's up, Clay?
I'm proud to stay with my
Clay. Oh, he's connecting to audio. Please hold.
All right. Well, I got to figure out how to get him on my janky screen here. So if you see like fingers and squiggles on my screen, pay no attention.
Clay, can you hear us? Oh, not yet.
I can see him.
Clay V1 Kenobi.
Hello.
Clay.
Hello.
Hey, there we are.
Hey,
Sorry
Clay.
about that. I'm getting to play with my brand new microphone, so I had to test everything out before joining. Sorry about that.
Shit.
Nice.
You're
Very
good.
nice.
No worries.
No problem. Fuck, I can't get nothing. Yeah. Sorry, guys. Go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna kind of walk through kind of how things are gonna go with today. We're gonna read some of the listeners who gave us a one-word review description of the episode, and then we're gonna kind of go round table. What's your one-word review and your overall thoughts on the episode, spoiler free, and then we'll dive straight into spoiler discussion. That's not gonna have any.
You know this.
I know.
You know that's not how I work.
I'm the queen around here. Thank you very much, Nathan.
You're right.
You didn't do it
You're
like
right.
say.
You're right. Damn it. I'll fall in line.
One word review. Oh crap. Okay.
I know.
So that's how things are gonna go. And then the last part of the episode is going to be, what do you predict for episode 2? So just kind of think about that. So first things first, one word review. Taylor, I'm gonna save yours. You did respond, but
You don't even have. Okay, yeah.
He cheated.
I feel like I cheated. Yeah.
Travis Hines gave a one-word review, but I specifically said in the tweet, no spoilers. So Travis, you don't get your one read today.
Wow.
Well,
I'm being
give us your one
particular.
word. Let's hear yours. Start us off. What's your one word spoiler-free review?
Well, I got 2 more. So Nerd Ground said Western. Crimson Cow. Anthony DC Outlaw said satisfying. And I would definitely kind of go in between like satisfying and Western. I know I said one word, but like I've been struggling to find the one word for it. But I really enjoyed the episode. I thought it was great. It does have a lot of like fan servicey elements in it. I thought they could have gone in a different direction with it, yes, but I really overall enjoyed the episode. So Taylor, you go next.
I believe I said nostalgic.
Oh.
Yep.
Very nice.
A lot of fan service stuff. And I eat that up. Like I told Travis, like, I think there's 2 kinds of Star Wars fans when it comes to Mandalorian. There's the story-driven ones and the ones that just eat everything up. And I eat it all. It's so good. So
I like to say I'm in the middle because I eat all that shit up too. But I like good stories too.
That's fair.
I want the
That's
best
totally
of both worlds.
That is fair. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm in your field, Taylor. I think I just eat all that shit up, man.
Yeah.
Yes.
Give it to me. Just give it to me. Oh, trying to think. So I didn't know we had to think of a word.
I sent you all this ahead of schedule.
I know I don't. I don't roll like that. I just hop on the show and talk.
That's how I do it.
No, but my one word, I guess I would have to say, would be fulfilling, because there was a lot of expectations going into this episode that we even talked about the other day, and yeah, it happened. So we're gonna talk about it in the future. I don't want to spoil anything yet, but
Nathan, what you got?
I might kind of cheat where mine's a little hyphenated, but mine's got to be a tone and a context to it. Oh yeah, because god damn it, this episode was great. I fucking loved it. I loved it. There was fan service, there were story elements, it was just like the best of both worlds. It was a little piece of home and returning home, and it's just, you know what I mean? It's just nice. Like when you go home for a home cooked meal from your mom, it's just always great. You know, it's just nice and warm and inviting. And yes, until we get into it, that's how I'm going to put it.
Clay, what you got?
I'm going to cheat a little bit and say that one word, KOTOR. That is my one word, which is technically an acronym, but still, like, so much KOTOR vibes. It felt awesome.
We're Star Wars Street. We get it.
Oh, okay. I was like, KOTOR, Knights of the Old Republic.
There you go.
Yep.
I was like trying to figure that out.
Yeah, I didn't figure that out. I had to look it up. I was like, let me look that up while they're talking about it. Yeah.
Well, and it's funny enough, there is a couple Knights of the Old Republic Easter eggs in here. So
I think that's why he said it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm picking up what you're throwing down.
Yeah.
It was so good. So, like, it felt good.
Yes.
I just want to say,
yes,
the freaking theme to this show always gets me hyped.
Mm-hmm.
Always.
Mm-hmm.
And I like how they're blending it in with the score now. It's so good.
Mm-hmm.
So good.
Did you watch the making of it last year, the Mandalorian documentary series?
I did not.
Oh, they went into that whole thing, the score and everything. It was amazing how they did that. But
yeah,
love it.
May have to dive into
it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Really good.
And you could really tell when the notes were blended in with the main theme and like moving it into something else. So that was really interesting.
You can tell they played with it a couple times in just like the show, like, distorted it and kind of corrupted it to make little different themes throughout the episode. You know what I mean? Which I liked, because you could hear the same notes, but just on different keys or different strings, or I don't know. I like it when they do that shit. It's the same thing, but just a little slightly different.
Mm-hmm.
So okay, let's dive into spoilers. Nathan, I know you want to go for it.
Go ahead. Nathan, I'm waiting on you. You're the captain of this ship. You know what I'm saying? I'm the co-pilot. I'm the Chewbacca around here.
Well, I want you to start this one, so go for it.
First of all, the first thing I noticed and the first thing that jumped out at me is when this thing opened up, it said Chapter 9, not like Chapter 1 from Season 2, which means this is a direct continuation. So eventually, when this all comes out on Blu-ray or whenever they end it, whether it be 3 seasons, 5 seasons, 7 seasons, it's going to just go where you can watch it as basically a long movie, or like, where it's all going together. That was the first thing I noticed.
Yeah.
Second thing I noticed was the name of the episode. And when we get into it, Timothy Oliphant or whatever, like, he's always going to be Raylan Givens to me from Justified. And that was a show where he was a U.S. Marshal in like Kentucky, down there in like the backwoods of Kentucky and stuff. And they called him Marshall a lot. So I just thought that was very fitting because he used his Raylan look, his walk, everything. I just love this actor. And like, I'm so glad he's in the Star Wars universe now, but I just thought it was funny. They called him Marshall and he played Marshall. I don't know. So it was a connection for me. There's somebody else out there who'll get it.
Oh, yeah. I used to watch the show also. And I like how it fit very well in the Star Wars universe without him having to try too hard.
Yeah, he was just playing himself. But like, man, when you see that Boba Fett armor, like, well, okay, first of all, like, I don't want to walk through the entire thing, but I'm just kind of jumping to the, to where we all went. The opening was great too, but I mean, like, just getting in there, going back to Tatooine and going over to, what is it, Mos Pogos or whatever, another place on the road we didn't know. Yeah, but still going back to Tatooine, to the Dune Sea, like going in there and like you look in that window, or as soon as he walks in the door, that's the Boba Fett armor, and you go, whoa. You know what I mean? Like, instantly just takes you back, like, holy shit. And like I said, I instantly recognized Timothy's voice, and I'm tickled to death that he's a part of it. But man, just what a great story, and like an expansion of Tatooine, and people might call it fan service and this and that, whatever. I don't give a shit. Bring it on. I loved it. I loved being back there. I loved how they ended it, which I know I'm not jumping in, but you ended with the binary sunset, like going like, oh, come on. What Star Wars fan around doesn't love that? Get out of here. I loved all of it. And I don't want to hog the whole thing, so I'll let you guys go. But like, I got more to say, but man, I just really loved. I love this.
I had to go back to the credits just now because I thought I saw it last night. I had to watch this in halves just because of my busy weekend. And I watched it last night. It said co-starring in order of appearance. John Leguizamo was in this.
Yeah, he was the one-eyed guy at the fighting pit. He did the voice of the one-eyed weirdo guy at the fighting pit.
Yeah, I was so confused by that. I did not even recognize his voice or anything. I thought that was really, really cool. But yeah, no, I think you're absolutely right with, I think most of us, whenever it comes to this, because for one, the opening scene where freaking Mandalorian is just being a complete badass and saying, oh, you won't die by my hand. I'm like, oh, that's the loophole right there. There's the loophole.
Lawyer speak.
And then he freaking shoots out the light. You see all the eyes. Oh, such a good cold opening. Well,
you see those eyes. You see those eyes when he's walking into the thing. He looks over when him and Baby Yoda are looking around. You can see those eyes sitting around there. And I think that was a nice way to tie it back in, like you said, as he's coming out.
Nathan, it's the child, Nathan, not Baby Yoda.
Get out of here. That's Baby
Yoda. Remember that.
Hey, especially with what's her name? What's her name on? Which pause for a second, but since you bring it up with the, I can't remember the actress's name, but as she
Sedaris.
Yeah, when he lands the Razor Crest and she goes, if this thing ever multiplies or splits or whatever, implying that like maybe to replicate, it literally replicates itself. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I hadn't even thought of that option, but I know there's people that like there's that. Well, she brings it up if it replicates or if it does something else. It's not implying like
if it
if you holding the baby or whatever. Like it implies just like boom. I don't know. I just think that's very interesting that was brought up or at least planted a seed. I'm not saying that'll happen with him, but I don't know. I think that just lays the groundwork for some rares. Maybe that's why the Yoda species is so rare because like just every once in a while they just kind of pop a piece of themselves out of them. Like, aha, there's a new one. You know,
They stopped letting them go into water.
Right, exactly. All right, well, go ahead.
Well,
I just want to say
it's interesting that the first part of the episode is like, I would say roughly 80% of the trailer.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we didn't see the ice planet. We haven't seen the fishing boat. We haven't seen the marketplace. Is there anything else that I'm missing? Like the X-Wings, maybe?
The Imperial facility, the speeder bikes.
The Imperial troops all together, because we see a couple of them in the trailer, but we didn't see any of those.
But like most of what the trailer is was pulled from this episode.
Good. That means we got 7 episodes of I don't know what the hell's gonna happen. And I love it.
I agree.
Yeah.
Everybody else, go ahead, because I can keep talking about this episode. But I want to hear everybody else's opinion. I can still diarrhea mouth. Let's go.
I mean, I'm brand new to this show, so I don't want to just like blurt everything out. I don't know exactly where we're going. I know that when the freaking, what do they call it? The what dragon? The
crate dragon.
The crate dragon. When I like the Easter egg of the Snarlack pit. And and they're like, oh well, there's never an empty Snarlack, and he's like, well, that's if you eat the Snarlack. And I was like, oh my god, just imagining what the Snarlack looked like way back in freaking Return of the Jedi. We didn't even get to see what it looked like, and then knowing that this giant dragon. Do you think, because looking at how it all ended, was that dragon like even larger than they thought?
I want to say it was. I'm going to say that the skeleton of the crate dragon that we see in A New Hope when R2 and 3PO land and hit the Dune Sea, I'm going to say that was a baby, because the one that they blew up was at least 3 times the size of that thing.
Well, when it blows up at the very end, the entire mountain shakes. So I think majority of it is still in the mountain when that happened. So I was like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Just jumping in here, things I loved about this one. I think that, we talked about it the other day about the possibilities of what we were going to see, and I feel like we saw everything that we were talking about we were going to see. We saw the Easter eggs, we saw the homage to the old school stuff going back to Tatooine. I think we had a reference in dragons in there. We saw a dragon. There were so many different things. We saw the Boba Fett stuff that was explained. We had the surprise at the end. Like, there were so many things that people were saying, this might be in there, this might be in there, this might be in there, and it was in there, almost like they were reading from the script about what was going to happen. But it was great, man. Total fan service, and like I said, I'm like Taylor. I just eat it all up. Just give me everything you can. I think Tatooine might be one of my favorite planets of the entire story. So just going back there was awesome. I didn't know that Mando could speak sand people so well, sand lingo so well.
Tusken Raider.
That was surprising. That was interesting.
Yeah, it really was.
And so, a fun fact about that, they actually, someone who is hearing who could speak ASL recommended, because they were developing the Tusken Raider sign language, they recommended that they actually bring in a deaf person to kind of develop the language alongside of them. And so I thought that was really neat touch, just kind of bringing in someone who has kind of that experience.
Well, that's very cool.
And yeah. So, and someone pointed it out and said, hey, I know this, but I would recommend bringing someone else in who has more experience and can really understand that. So that was a good touch. I like that they still kept the screaming even though technically they are deaf. So that's why they speak sign language.
The one thing I didn't like about the Tusken Raiders was during the entire encounter with the dragon only killed the Raiders. And
no, it didn't. It killed some villagers.
I did not see.
In the second part, they got some villagers, especially with that acid and shit that sprayed out of it. Oh yeah, some of those villagers got wiped out.
Okay. Came out of the mountain shooting the acid.
I think that the Raiders were just prominent in the areas where it was getting. So I personally didn't see it. I'll have to watch it again.
Hey, no harm, no foul. You get to watch another great episode. Hold on.
Right.
I think when that
Taylor,
first raider, I was just gonna say to piggyback on that when that first raider like is setting up the bantha and trips and falls and gets eaten, that sets the tone for the fact that okay, a lot of raiders are gonna die in this
right.
So, but what I love about this episode is again, just all the fan service stuff. I think that so many like audio cues that they threw in there. Like I'm not sure if you guys picked up on it. I didn't notice it until I saw someone else comment about it, but the sound that the crate dragon makes.
Yes, I was going to bring that up.
The same sound that Obi-Wan makes, but just on a different like pitch when he's trying to save Luke from the Raiders, which I thought was awesome.
Before the remaster, before Lucas added the extra stuff to it, it's like the original version sounds a lot like what that crate dragon sounds like. And then he went and remastered it, added some beep boops and bops to it or whatever he did to it. But yeah, the original and that's just awesome because Jon Favreau has always, before the special edition, all you're right. That I thought when somebody pointed that out to me and I heard them side by side, I thought that was really cool.
I'm gonna have to go back. I did not pick that up. That's
I didn't either, but that is pretty cool. Yeah.
Well, but we wanted to scare off the Tusken Raiders. That's what he does in the original. So that made perfect sense, and I thought that was such a cool, nice touch.
Well,
sorry, Taylor, go ahead.
I think one of the best things that you can think about now is knowing that because of the Star Wars universe, Obi-Wan is on Tatooine, or maybe, but the fact that he might still be on, well, no, wait.
Not at this time, he's not.
Not at this time. Not at this time.
He gone.
That's right. It is early. And as you saw in the chat, I was sleeping like a rock because of this whole daylight savings time. It crushed me. But no, just the fact that like they pulled that, is really, really cool. And bravo to whoever picked it up in the first place. I think that's cool. Is there like a video side by side that like on Twitter or whatever?
Yeah,
there will be.
There will be. You can probably search that out and you can find it. Yeah, but I heard somebody else point it out in another video, and I was just like, well, that's fucking cool.
Another kind of a couple Easter eggs that you've got in here. The speeder that Cobb Vanth drives.
Pod racer engine.
Anakin's pod racer engine. But apparently some people are saying that it's not, or it's been modified to like.
I don't think it's Anakin's personally because Anakin's had different colored flaps and more of them, which it's been however many years it could have been modified, obviously. But I don't think it was Anakin's. It'd be cool as hell if it was, but I just think it was a pod racer engine.
Yeah, just a popular style of pod racer engine, perhaps. I mean, it's like trying to say that every vehicle engine is different. I'm sure they had ones that were very similar, the assembly line created. So
well, and then the other fun fact I found is R5 from A New Hope is in this episode.
Yeah, you didn't catch him? You didn't catch that when it showed the back of it? Yeah, the head. As soon as I saw like my wife was watching it with me, and like I said, she hates Star Wars other than the Mandalorian. As soon as I said R5, and she's just like looking at me like, "What the hell are you talking about?" And then I had to go in the whole spiel of like, "Oh, he blows his motivator and da.
Was he with the Jawa still?
No, he was. What's her name?
He was with
I did not catch that. I'm having it side by side while we talk. So
where the bonk droids are, the lady with the bonk droids that we're fixing his ship, giving it the once over. That's the astromech that comes out and shows the projection of the map.
Okay, yeah. Okay, that's cool. I see it right here.
And so,
very cool.
Yeah, and so he has a story, and I told Nathan this several times, but from a certain point of view, Strikes Back. Or from a certain point of view, I keep saying Strikes Back, but it's A New Hope version. And R2 tells him, hey, I have a mission. I really need to go with C-3PO. And R5 purposely blows his motivator so he can help R2 go be with C-3PO for his mission.
You were who I heard that from. I knew I heard that from somebody, and I couldn't figure out. You were who told me that. Okay. Because I was going to say that, and I was like, but I wasn't so sure about it because I know I heard it somewhere, but I couldn't remember if I dreamed it or, so. Yeah.
I rave about it. So,
do you guys notice the Tusken Raiders' little dogs are the same ones from Attack of the Clones when Anakin goes and slaughters the whole village? Yeah. I couldn't remember their name, but I was like, oh, that's a nice touch because you only see them real quick in that scene, in episode 2 where Anakin, where it shows him sneaking in to get his mom, but you do see him there, and I was like, oh, that's a nice touch too, bringing those forward like they're still their pets, and even now I thought that was really cool.
Did y'all think it looked cute when it actually kind of stopped and started wagging its little butt?
Well, sure.
Like for a second, it went from ferocious to, oh, I pet that.
Yeah, for real. I mean, yeah, definitely. I don't think I want to take my chances with it, but Mando, he's best guard up. Like even in that fight in the very beginning, like his armor was a weapon because they showed that one where that purple Twi'lek grabs him from behind. That one guy punches him in the face and knocks his head back, but he like back headbutts the guy behind him just because of the force, and it knocks him out and shit. So he's literally using his body as a weapon with the armor and not even meaning to. And I just thought that was a really nice touch. Literally anywhere he hits you with that shit, you're gonna feel it because it's really hard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I have a question for some of y'all, more people that are more expertise than me. When there was the scene where it shows the flashback of the Death Star, the second Death Star blowing up, and you see everybody celebrating, they talk about how almost immediately those people came in and took over the city. Who were those people that came in and took over
the mining company?
Yeah, he said the mining people.
Okay, so it's somebody they probably created for this purpose.
No,
no.
As I say, in Clone Wars, I think you can see them in the background, and in Rebels, there's an episode or two where they're like prominent because they have to like go into the mining place or whatever. Katie would probably remember better than me, but I know that they're prominent. There's one episode or two in Rebels where they're prominent, like up in your face.
Well, and the other thing is that Cobb Vanth isn't actually a Mandalorian original character. Cobb Vanth appeared first in the Aftermath novel, and so what you see in that flashback is kind of a synopsis of what happens in the Aftermath books.
Okay.
Somebody said that. I'm sorry. The text underneath the orb showing the Death Star blowing up. If you translate that out, it's like the second line in the crawl from Return of the Jedi, where it says Luke, where it says Luke's come through. Somebody translated that because there's a Star Wars translator, but that's what it says. So it's literally the second line of the crawl to where you can, Luke. I forgot what it is, but if you go watch Return of the Jedi, it's that where it starts off with Luke Skywalker and stuff in there. So I just thought that was a cool little touch that they did that just for the hell of it.
So much.
Very nice.
So much detail inside.
What was I going to ask? Oh, well, Katie, you would know the legends, well, maybe Taylor too, but didn't they kind of combine like the new legend canon? But so, I mean, we're going to get there, whatever, spoilers out of the way. Like we saw Boba show up at the end. So in the legends, like we know the Sarlacc pit spit him out or something, whatever. They gave a one word thing of like the Sarlacc found me somewhat indigestible or whatever. So basically, like they kind of took the new Aftermath with Cobb Vanth and the legend shit, kind of put it together, right? Because as far as we knew in Aftermath, until this point, Boba was dead, and it's all he did was Cobb found the armor, right? But in the legends, Boba actually himself came out, or they suspected it was, and that's what I thought. So they kind of mix a little bit of legends and the new canon.
Yeah. So that's what cool. I think happened with Boba is he left the armor behind to climb out of the Sarlacc pit, and then when the Krayt Dragon ate the Sarlacc pit, it spit out the armor.
Well, there's also a rumor of like Sarlacc's still going to be formidable. Yeah, the Krayt Dragon, but okay, now this is just a little piece together that I just heard somebody mention. So this is neither here nor there. This is out of the mind of a fan. So, but I can see it working. Is that we saw the venom that the Krayt Dragon does, that like it would have to spit that venom. So when it did that, it would kind of melt to where Boba could get out, but his armor was just kind of jacked up. So you kind of have to like leave it to get out. But like while they were fighting is basically what jarred him out of the Sarlacc pit. Because, as we know, his rocket was messed up. He couldn't fly out of there. So if he's in the pit and he can't get out, but if that Krayt Dragon's attacking him and they're fighting, almost like indigestion, wheels him back to the top. Now, like I said, that's just out of the mind of a fan, but I can see it working.
Yeah, you think the Krayt Dragon was eating the Sarlacc at the same time that the Sarlacc was eating?
Not at the same time, but I would say after. Well, I would imagine we're going to find out how long it was. Yeah. But I can't imagine it could have been too much longer because else he would have been digested. Oh, and I was going to ask you two, do you think they're going to keep Boba Fett's armor as Durasteel, or are they going to make it Beskar now? Because Mando was all like, he didn't actually have it, but he was awfully adamant about getting that because of the Beskar. But I do believe maybe it's Legends or whatever, but I thought it was Durasteel was what his was made out of. What Boba Fett's armor was made out of.
I don't think they confirmed that in any of like the current canon what type of metal it is.
Okay, well good then. There's no way to that'll work then. They don't have to correct or whatever.
I have a question about that. We just talked about the Boba Fett showing up at the end. Do we necessarily know that's Boba Fett? Couldn't that be any clone trooper, any surviving clone?
It's
could.
I was gonna say that, for people who only, are Star Wars, like, I guess, movie fans, or however you want to put it, they may see him and be like, oh, that could just be any clone. Majority of people will jump to the conclusion of Boba Fett, which I think it is. But for a split second, I was like, oh, well, maybe that's Rex, or maybe,
here's
yeah.
Well, here.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry. As I say, here's why I think it is Boba Fett. Episode 5, the last time we went to Tatooine, with the Fennec Shan episode. Fennec Shan's body's on the ground. We hear Boba Fett's spurs clink, 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 and they end on the shot of the feet.
But even Cobb Vanth has those too, right? Because he's rocking the armor.
Mm-hmm. Good. Okay, you're right. That's true. But if you notice, when you see Boba, he's been with them the whole time. He's been watching them dressed up as a Tusken Raider. He's got the Tusken blaster and the Tusken stick, and he's wearing their gray robes. He's literally been hiding out with them the whole time. And there's this one shot in the beginning where Mando and him come, where Cobb Vanth, goddamn, hang on 1 second. Where Cobb Vanth goes to drink that stuff, you know what I mean? Where he goes to drink the weird shit. Well, there's 2 Tusken Raiders that are sitting right next to him, and they're talking. And there's one kind of sitting off to the fire like this, and he's got his shit folded up like this, and he's just staring all intensely. I got a feeling that was Boba. He's been with them literally since the beginning and watching them, watching his armor, watching the new breed of Mandalorian, all of that. He was with them the whole time. He helped to take down the crate dragon, everything.
I was so pumped to see the possibility of Boba returning. I didn't even pick up that he had Tusken robes on.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought,
did you see his face too? Like claws on it or whatever? That could have been from the Sarlacc.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and he doesn't have any hair or anything, and obviously we didn't see what Boba Fett looked like in the original trilogy. But you could honestly say the Sarlacc pit is like what was rumored. It will digest you over 1,000 years. So it could be like he was just affected by the stomach acid of the Sarlacc pit or something. It caused him to lose hair or something. I don't know.
Sure. He could have just been like, you know what? I'm gonna like Captain Rex looked really good. I think I'm gonna copy that. I mean, it could have been as simple as that. But like, you know what? We're just baking it down.
I think.
Well, and what I do,
I think that might have been what made me think that it could possibly be somebody else who's been involved, and it reminded me of Captain Rex. So,
well, what you've also got to think about is Boba Fett was an unaltered clone. So all of the other clones were set up to age accelerate.
They would be much older.
Yeah. So you're looking at
Tamara's
Rex.
at the right age. Yeah, this guy that we saw is the right age for what Boba should be without being accelerated.
I didn't even think about that. So Rex, if he is confirmed in here,
Return of the Jedi, Rex is in there as the old grandpa with the white hair and stuff in there. He's helping out. You can see him on Return of the Jedi on Endor.
It does vary too. I mean, like not all. Again, like the clones were unleashed in waves, essentially, right? So obviously, you have Rex is much older. Yes. You look at like Gregor from Rebels. He's definitely not looking super old as the rest of them. He looks like he's still a little bit young there, enough to fit that age of like Boba. I'm not saying I totally believe that it's Boba. I would laugh if it's like some obscure clone like Kix or like Heavy or something like that just coming back.
Damn it. I'll take it though. I love the clones. I don't give a shit. Give me all the clones.
Yeah, and like I say, I'm willing to bet it probably is Boba. I was thinking, there's a possibility it's not, and that would be a big curveball if they threw it out for it wasn't, So, and I'm not gonna lie either. Boba Fett's armor, although it looks very it's nostalgic, I love the look of it. It's kind of crap armor, man. It covers like 6% of your body and your head.
Well, I mean,
you gotta think about it.
Vulnerable.
The Marshal wasn't really filling it out like super well. Like Boba, he fit that armor much better than Timothy did. So
yeah, and you've got to think too. So Cobb Vanth was essentially kind of a slave. So he wasn't the bulkiest of people. He didn't have kind of the suit that the armor was supposed to go on top of, because I'm sure like Din probably has some special made clothing that he says, okay, this has to go on under my armor. Because otherwise Yeah.
For the ladies. We know.
So, and he's supposed to not look right in the armor in this case because it doesn't belong to him necessarily.
Yeah, great. He's not showing off his blaster, if you know what I'm saying. These clothes are a little loose on him.
Well, you know, I do like how they didn't make him a complete chump with the armor, you know, kind of acting like, oh, it's not his. He's kind of made it his own. And the fact that he uses the rocket twice, and Jon Favreau,
love the rangefinder. Love that.
He's mirroring his Iron Man 1 scene.
Yep.
Yes.
In the very first time he uses the rocket. That was awesome. I saw those side by side today.
Favreau directed this, didn't he? This is the first episode Favreau directed.
He directed and written. He writes all of them in the first season, but just like how it mirrored the first season, he wrote and directed the first episode of the first season, and he did it on this season as well.
Well, so
Filoni directed the pilot for season 1.
Did he really?
This is the only episode Jon Favreau directed of the Mandalorian.
Oh, well, that is my mistake. I did not know that.
And then you've got Filoni has written an episode this season, and Rick Famuyiwa.
Yeah, which I can't wait to see because Rick's got a unique. I've only seen bits and pieces of his actual like written work. You know what I mean? Other than the Mandalorian episode. I'll be curious to see, like, hear his voice because, like I said, I'll keep beating the drum that his episodes in the first season were like all the directors were great, but like if Kathy or goddamn it, Deborah Chow's getting a series stuff, like we can get Rick in there to co-one a series or something because he gets it. Like his episodes were really good in season 1 too, so I'm looking forward to see what he does on the writing page too with this. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Does anyone else have anything to say on this?
I have one thing that I'll shout out. I'll say what I like about it, and then I'll segue towards my main point. But I love the scene of them both flying in the jetpacks together. I think that was fantastic, and it was just so well done. And I love when they're both standing in front of the crate dragon. And again, it was a nod to Return of the Jedi when Mando like whacks the back just like Han did, and it just sends the jetpack off. I love that so much. But
did you see the patch job on the jetpack too? The one that Cobb was wearing? You can see the little patch because Han did, so it had to be fixed. I just thought that was a nice touch too, just the attention to detail the series does.
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
I love that scene, like just when they're both flying together. It looks so good. And I think a lot of like me and Travis kind of like, I wouldn't say butt heads of this a little bit, but I think he thinks like a little bit differently picking apart the CGI. There's some parts were a little bit iffy, and I do appreciate how when like the crate dragon was spitting its acid out, that they would spray on the screen to kind of cover our vision of like picking down like, oh, I
can honestly say there was only one part of this episode where I noticed the CGI, and that was
Snail. Not everything can be La La Land. Jeez, you know what I'm saying?
I know. No. And that's what I appreciate. I appreciate the one part that I did notice it was super quick. And so only if you were really looking at it, you would be like, oh, okay, I noticed it. But it was right before they met up with the Tusken Raiders. They were going into that cavern. And while they were winding the corner, it was a split second, but I was like, oh, that looked a little bad, but it's okay. And then, I mean, it's met with really great scenes afterwards. So it really just goes away. And I think that's what Favreau does best, because he worked with Iron Man, one of the biggest CGI characters in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So he knows how to work with it. And he still made a beautiful
there was a lot of
episode.
Practicals in Iron Man 1. If we're being fair, back in 2007, there was a lot of practicals in that when he directed.
Yes.
So
well, when he's on the ground and they're talking, not when he's flying through the air and shooting rockets.
Greg?
I think
they didn't have wire work going on. You're shitting me.
Oh man.
No, I agree with you on the man. That flying did look really good, and man, like I'll give it the sound engineers like. The Cobb's but his jetpack sounded just like Boba's, you know what I mean? Like they put like it sounded a little old and kind of they just did they paid such good attention to detail on this that man, it was great. And how bad like I've never wanted a bantha so bad in my life because man, look how
I feel sorry for the banthas.
Like they're walking around. I know, and Great Dragon's just eating them right and left, and I'm going, Jesus, like what is happening here?
Like, I'm surprised they're not like a endangered species on Tatooine. They're just like, hey, we're gonna sacrifice you for the next thing we want to kill. It's just like, holy crap.
I think of them like a horse. They'll always be around. There'll always be some around. Horses, dogs. There's always going to be some around.
I also
until
thought
there's
that
not.
this episode,
Until there's not.
That's right.
I thought this episode was handled well. That this was definitely a Mando focused episode, and Baby Yoda was still there, but like it was. They showed him just enough, you know what I mean? You had your funny moments, but like there was times where you almost forgot about him, but it still worked. You know what I mean? Because I've been wondering how the balance was going to be, because the first season was a lot heavier on like, hey, he's got to be right next to me, like I got to protect, which I guess he was here, but like this was a lot of Baby Yoda was in the background. He wasn't stealing the show. He was just kind of there. Like in the opening, he's there for the comedic relief, which was great, where he sucks himself in his little egg and he hides in that little spit platoon. Like if you were at an old Western bar, that's where they'd spit their chew at, and he's just like hiding inside there and stuff. That was all great, but he didn't take over after that. And I just think that speaks and is a testament to how well the writing is and just how well it's shot, and they put your focus on other things without letting you forget things. You know what I mean?
Well, this episode like you said, Nathan, it was very Mando focused. Like even in the beginning where you see the Razor Crest land on Tatooine and Peli, the Mando and Baby Yoda come out, and Peli's like, oh, nope, pit droids, you can't go work on that one. He doesn't like it if you work on that one. And then Din says, nope, they're good. It's showing the growth from the last season where he kind of had that bonding moment with IG-11 to kind of make his opinion of droid less profound, less hating. So, and then it's kind of funny that you still see the pit droids screw something up and knock out that air tube or vacuum tube, whatever. And he's like, do I want to change my mind now? So I thought that was a great touch, just to kind of make sure that the focus was still there and that they weren't just kind of leaving season 1 in the dust. That they were taking growth moments from there and bringing it in.
So here's my quote. Sorry. I was just saying, I just got a question, and I know Katie and Taylor probably be able to maybe help answer this the best, but during the original trilogy, right? Tatooine is so far out there. Like, yes, there's Imperial people out there, occupation, but it's in Hutt space. And Jabba runs the planet, correct? There's Imperials there, whatever. But what's her name? And in Pogos, they're picked whatever the name is. But in both of the Cantina locations, they said that once the Empire fell, it was complete and utter chaos. Now we know Jabba's dead at this time. So you mean to tell me nobody has taken up Jabba's mantle, and then the Imperial fall made that planet that was already like a desperado fucking, if you're a gangster, you can go there and hide out and do what you want. And then it really went to shit. So like what? Here we are right now when he's on there. Who's ruling? Is it still under Hutt occupation? Does the New Republic have it under its control? Like what's happening?
New Republic, I'm going to say no. Hutts, I'm going to say no. If you look at the fact that, Jabba died probably within the span of like a week when the Empire crumbled, I'm assuming. So, Jabba, even in the Clone Wars, was something that
maybe like the Hutt cartel sent somebody, I'm not necessarily like a Jabba or like his offspring, but is it still under the Hutt cartel? Because in Clone Wars, we saw that there was like 12 Hutts of the Great Hutt family or whatever.
This is my take on it, but I think that obviously you have Maul that kind of destabilized the Hutts a little bit when he went in there. And then you have obviously the remaining Hutts, I would imagine, would have some sort of alliance or negotiation with the Empire, because they did here in the Clone Wars. At least the Dooku, the Separatist, was trying to fight for that. The Republic was trying to fight for that. And I think that he probably was like, yeah, you guys can come to Tatooine if you need to do whatever you're doing, but just don't like interfere with my business, and we'll give you access to other things. It's easier to work with them than kind of go against them, because I imagine the Hutts would be pretty powerful opponents.
So I wonder who's running the show right now then, because they didn't, like you said, if it's not the Hutts, and it's probably not the New Republic, we know it's not the Empire now, and we know what's it, and Cobb Vanth took out the mining clan to try to take over that one part. So I wonder, is it just like a freak? Because she even says she's kind of scared to go out of the walls right now. You know what I mean? So like, is it just a free for all?
I was just about to say, could it be just like
territories?
gangsters basically saying, "Oh, if no one's gonna take this ground, I am," and then everybody just kind of like, "Okay, we can't fight you," type of thing.
Right. Like if you don't have the Godfather, you might have like all his underlings going after each other. You know what I'm saying? Like you need that head, which was what Jabba was. He was the head of that planet, where you could do your business, you could do whatever you want, but you all fell under the iron grip of Slugman, Jabba the Hutt. Like you were all fell in line. Like Boba, one of the baddest, bounty hunters at the time, still like worked for and reported to Jabba the Hutt. Whether it be out of respect or payment or whatever, it's just the fact you had Greedo. You had, like I said, you didn't make a move on Tatooine without passing it by Jabba first if it was illegal or whatever, even with the Empire coming. So I'm just curious now that it's been 5 years, like you said, is it just a free for all? Like maybe you got this gangster territory here and this one here, or what's going on? Because like I said, she made that little comment of like, she's still kind of scared to go out of the walls now. And when Mando rides into that town, like everybody kind of freezes and looks at him. Oh, and there was a Sam Witwer cameo in there too. He was a person in the town. Well, with the little cart, he was pushing the thing. When Mando comes riding in with the long curly hair, that was Sam Witwer, Darth Maul himself. Mm-hmm.
Well, so I was looking at Wikipedia for Tatooine, and so kind of what I found is that after the Battle of Endor, a Jawa sand crawler scavenged the wreckage from Jabba's sail barge, including a set of Mandalorian armor. So the armor was scavenged early on, it looks like, and not necessarily years later, like what we're thinking, which is strange.
That's interesting. Yeah.
But
the first thing he did inside the Sarlacc was get naked. Very strange. Very strange.
Well, so it looks like the Red Key Raiders have kind of taken over Tatooine as an attempt to kind of lock down the planet and prevent New Republic control from completely coming in.
That answers my question then.
It looks like that. And apparently Jabba had another baby that is referenced in Aftermath that Cobb Vanth actually raises. So.
Well, there's another one other than Stinky?
Borgo.
I've heard that name actually.
I don't think I've heard that.
The one thing that I'm really curious about, and this is kind of the last thing that I wanted to talk about with this episode, is Fennec Shand. So obviously we see the feat in the Gunslinger episode. We see somebody walk up to her. What happens to her? Why? I know Ming-Na Wen was really excited about being in The Mandalorian, and she's even like teased that she's gonna come back. So where is she?
She made a comment that made it sound, I read it's been a while ago, but I read the quote, and the way she talked about it, it made it sound like she wasn't done. She didn't necessarily be like, yeah, I'm coming back, or like my time is in, but the way she was talking, you got the impression of like, she may have more to come. So I know exactly what you're talking about, but as far as we know in context of the show, once they killed her, they just left her body in the desert. And then we saw what I would assume was Boba Fett, or it could have been Cobb Vanth because you just had the same spurs. You know what I mean? But that I assumed it was Boba Fett, and then it just cuts and we'd never go back there. So did he like take her body to clone her? Was she playing dead?
Let's say hypothetically you have Boba Fett going to rendezvous with her then. Because she said she has someone she's meeting, obviously. Yeah. So why, hypothetically, would Boba Fett be meeting like the #1 assassin that worked for the Hutts? What do you guys think?
Ooh, that's a great question.
Well, you got to ask yourself at that point, does anybody know nobody would recognize him as Boba Fett, correct? Because nobody would have known what his face looked like. So he could be going under an alias, working as Boba Fett, but not being Boba Fett. That'd be my kind of guess. Is he's always going to want to leg up on the competition.
Well, to Taylor's point, though, like you said, like why he's hiring an assassin, and if he's laying low with sand people, if he was right, I mean, like in this hypothetical, but like from what we know is he literally, unless we're under the assumption that he saw Mando was coming and literally just took the identity of a Tusken Raider for just now. But to me, I got the impression that like he was laying low with them. Like that's his way he can travel around this planet with being incognito. Like he doesn't look like a clone anymore or anything. He can hide his whole face, everything.
What if he found out about Mando from her and he's like, oh crap, I need to go into hiding?
Okay, so if we play with the idea that Boba Fett kind of escaped a couple of days after he was eaten by the Sarlacc pit. Why is he still on Tatooine? Why didn't he leave? Tatooine's a desert wasteland.
Why didn't he assume control of the planet? That's a great point. Jabba's dead. Why wouldn't he assume control of the planet? He was one of Jabba's head hunters. He could definitely command that respect. That's a great point. Why? What did he? Why was he just so like, man, a blonde Han Solo shot? Like, oh man, like he was just so disappointed that they got him so easily. I
think it was probably
is it a pride thing?
Yeah,
I think it comes down to the armor. I mean, you look at how. I mean, again, like, wherever he stands in the Mandalorian tier of being that and being crazy about armor and the Beskar, all that stuff. But it's his dad's helmet, all that jazz. So, I mean, my initial thought is he was trying to track it down and find it. If the Jawas picked it up right away, then that explains why he's been searching for it this whole time. And I do believe that he genuinely got wind that, okay, like, I got to lead. This guy just took out this group of bad guys in Algo with Mandalorian armor. That's my armor. I'm gonna head out there and see what's going on. He sees them all fighting this crate dragon, and then one of those horrible scenarios where you get to your destination to get something and you see Mando flying off with it, like, and now I gotta go all the way over here.
Yeah. I walked all this way for nothing.
Exactly.
Yeah. I wanted to ask about the armor. Did you guys not get the feeling towards the end that Mando was going to give him that armor? Like, you've earned it. You've earned it. Here you go. But he ended up taking it, and I was like, oh, I thought he was going to give it to him because I thought he see his character again. I thought that was the direction it was going with the way they were flying.
I'm not entirely sure because, like, of course, I don't think he thought that he was an actual Mandalorian when he first saw him because of his persona, because of how he was acting, but especially when he took off the helmet, like he immediately stopped.
Mm-hmm.
And I think
him in his tracks.
I think that Mando is such in his ways that like he is like, no, you cannot have this armor. Like, you have already disrespected it by taking it off. Like, so I need that.
And I think while Din is a very caring person and he's willing to help if he sees a reason for people that need help, I still think he kind of sticks with the Mandalorian creed that says you don't take off that helmet. And so that's kind of what sticks with him the most is I will help, but
I can't wait till he runs into Bo-Katan and Bo's going to take that helmet off, and she's from the OG original Mandalore. So I'm going to love it when he tries to scold her or whatever. And she's going to look at him like, bitch, shut your mouth. I've been here since the original planet before it was stripped. You know what I mean? Like, you don't get to tell me what to do. I know the old ways, motherfucker. Like, I can't wait to see that guy because Katie Stackhoff, come on, man. Like, love that girl. She's a great actor for Battlestar. Like, for her to come on in live action, because that better happen. That better not have been a huge rumor. Like, I can't wait to see live action Bo-Katan. Especially the interaction.
I do feel like in the sense of where they can't take off the helmet. I want to say it's more or less a fondling kind of requirement, to be brought into the creed that you guys, you weren't born as Mandalorians, so you have to keep on this armor and keep the helmet on at all times to represent this Mandalorian creed. Whereas you have these people that were from Mandalore always taking their helmets off and such. But again, that's my interpretation.
Well, but it's not that they can't take the helmets off. It's they can't show their face to people because they have to eat.
Yeah.
Right? So, I mean, I think he even takes the helmet off to eat in the last season one time. When nobody's around. So I don't know. I have to look up the rules on the Mandalorian rules on their armor.
Well, even Sabine doesn't give a shit about taking her out. Like, she doesn't care, and that's right around this time. So literally, Din Djarin, at the time that Sabine's running around helping build a rebellion, he's already been taken. He's already been brought in, and he's been doing this, practicing this. This is the way, this new Mandalorian creed, where he's never taken his off. And like I said, we literally see her get the Darksaber, bring Bo-Katan back in, try to get what's left of the Mandalorians to get together in there. And then you got convents like this that have been hiding out and never take their mask off. Like, it's going to be such an interesting dichotomy when these worlds collide. Is she what?
Isn't she rumored to be in this season also?
Yes. That's what I mean. It's going to be such a cultural shock to everything we know from one side and what he's been preaching. And I can't wait to see how those come together. Because like I said, the ones that we've been following from Clone Wars on, like they've been around the original Mandalore.
With that in mind, do you think that this season is basically going to get him to kind of chillax on the Mandalorian ways? And so that way they can show him without
Pedro
his helmet.
Pascal's going to show that he's going to start showing that face more because that's his moneymaker, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and so I was on the Geeky Waffles Mando Night Live last night, and someone brought up a good point that it might not necessarily be a Creed thing, but it might have been a way to protect Mandalorians, because we don't know for a fact that he had to keep the helmet on when he was in training. He might have been given a helmet and say, okay, at the end of his training, and say, here's your helmet. You don't take.
We saw the kids in the convent in season 1 running around with just helmets, no other armor, running and playing with just helmets on. When he walked down there to go melt his Beskar. So I mean, maybe you're right. Maybe they do take them off, but just from what we have seen,
but maybe
they were running playing with only helmets on.
But kind of the fact is, the Night of 1,000 Tears happened after the end of Rebels, or not the epilogue of Rebels, but like after Bo-Katan takes the Darksaber. So you might have said, okay, at this point with the Foundlings trainings, then they don't have to have their helmets, and it might have just been a protection thing that says, okay, Mandalorians have literally just been hunted in the Night of 1,000 Tears. So now in the best efforts of keeping you safe and keeping you protected, you wear this helmet always. You don't take it off in front of other people, or you don't put it back on, because then people know you're a Mandalorian and you will be hunted. That's why Din, I think, freaked out when Moff Gideon knew his name, because that is another factor that says, now I've been revealed. Now people who know who I am, people could hunt me. If people could hunt my loved ones, if he had loved ones.
Yeah. I was trying to think about exactly what you're saying right there, Katie, and it being like a secret identity thing, that type deal. Because even into the last episode or last season, the robot or the what am I looking for? The droid takes him off. He says, I'm a droid. Because it's not breaking rule. Nobody can see me. It's a droid seeing him. But if you really think about it, if you're trying to hide your identity so people don't know you're a Mandalorian, or why would you wear Mandalorian armor to hide that identity? Like, if people see you in Mandalorian armor, they're going to know you're like, as opposed to if they see you outside of it, they wouldn't know who you were if they didn't know you were the one under that. I get what you're saying, but I've been trying to wrap my head around that, and I don't understand, because hiding in the costume does not hide people from letting you know you're a Mandalorian.
Now that I think about it, Katie's probably onto something, because I just forgot Death Watch rescued Din Djarin as he was a kid. Bo-Katan was the second in command of Death Watch. He knows Bo, and he knows they used to take their helmets off in Death Watch and shit. So Katie might be onto something, that after the Night of 1,000 Tears, they made an addendum or an amendment or whatever you want to say to it, and said, all right, look, to protect who we have left, nobody can see your face. Nobody. So you might be onto something with that. It might have been added after Gideon destroyed their planet, or whatever happened with the Night of 1,000 Tears.
But I just don't get that. If nobody's ever going to see your face, then why are you worried about somebody knowing who you are? Because nobody's ever going to see your face. What difference does it make?
I feel like he just didn't care.
Yeah, and I mean, who's to say that, even with our current Mandalorian, I keep forgetting his real name.
Din.
Yeah. He had a family before this, and although they were basically eradicated, there may have been a survivor. So somebody from his past may still be out there. So why would you want to take that chance? And knowing that somebody out there knows you, it would be safer to think, to make everybody else think that you're dead or gone, just erased.
We have someone joining us for the very end. Does anyone else have anything they want to say?
I did want to bring up one thing, because I was kind of confused as of what it even was. After they killed the dragon, the Tusken Raiders pulled out some sort of orb or something out of the dragon. I don't know what that was.
Yeah.
The Crate Pearl, yeah. They use it for digestion, and apparently it can be used as in lightsaber building.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Oh man, I'm learning more and more.
Just like a clam will get so much bullshit and stuff in it that it makes pearls. Basically the same idea with the crate dragon, because it eats so much sand and dirt, going through that shit. Eventually it just kind of solidifies and makes into that pearl, is my understanding of in universe mythology.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Travis, welcome.
Hello. How are you?
Hi,
So,
neighbor.
I didn't read your one word review because it had spoilers in it.
Yes, spoiler.
But you have 2 minutes to tell us what you thought on the episode and ask any questions, and then we're gonna dive into the very end.
That's good because I don't have the biggest amount of time. I was like, I gotta jump on while I can. I just freaking loved the episode. I thought the pace was fantastic, and the action. I didn't even know what was CG and what wasn't really. Besides the giant worm, of course. But
Great dragon.
Yeah, well, I'm just calling it a giant worm a la Tremors. That's what I went with.
I've never seen that movie.
What?
Katie.
Add it to the slice of film. It's added.
Right now.
But no, it just continued on because I only watched episode 5. So I watched 6, 7, 8, and then 9 all in a row. And
you lucky bastard. You got to experience all that at once. Wow.
It was really good.
How great was it?
Wow.
It just continued on. I was really, really impressed.
Me too.
Cool. And then tell us your one word review, even though it had spoilers.
Fit.
Nice. I like it.
All right, so we're gonna dive into kind of what we predict is gonna happen in episode 2. So Clay, we're gonna start with you.
With me, the one who has the least amount of information on this entire universe.
That's how it's happening.
No, Clay, right here. Here.
I mean, I will admit, I was thrown into the Star Wars universe with my older brother, reading a lot of the old, what do they call them? Legends novels and everything else. So for me, I don't know, like, because there's so many threads that I do want to be picked up from the first season. Of course, the giant cliffhanger from freaking the first season. I do want to see where all that left off. I want to see more of I can't even remember her name. The one that actually created the armor for the Mandalorian.
The
armorer.
Yeah, the armorer. I want to see more.
Emily Swallows.
Yes,
Supernatural.
She's from Supernatural. But
unfortunate name.
I just want to have another crazy adventure before we get on to like story, to be completely honest.
Sure.
Just one because for me, I think my favorite episode from season 1 was the one with the I'm gonna get this wrong. Of course it's not the AT-AT, but the with the small little village. ATST. Sorry. Mm-hmm. So I want something.
Chicken Walker.
Yes, I want something to bring in more characters, because of course with this episode with the Marshal, they come around again with saying like, oh, if I ever need you, I know where you are. So we know that might bring up another finale where a lot of our old friends, or whatever you want to call them, come back up, meet up, and they take on whoever the villain is. So I want more characters. So whether that be people coming in from Clone Wars or from Rebels making their live action appearance, I think that would be awesome.
Me too.
So I think that's what I want. I predict a cartoon character's first live action appearance for next episode.
Ooh, next episode, huh?
Yeah.
Next episode. Ooh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Taylor, what you got?
I predict we will definitely not see Boba Fett next episode. But it's hard because I'm basing this kind of off of the trajectory of the first season, in the sense that we see him complete his mission in the first episode and he's going back to his ship, which again we got here, but it totally derails. I'm not saying Jawas are going to raid a ship again, which would be hilarious, but I think that there's two possibilities. He could for some reason currently get stuck on Tatooine, and we do get the Boba Fett, which I think is the least likeliest, or we see him get onto his ship, and he needs to have a new heading right now. I mean, this whole episode was set up that he has a link to a Mandalorian. He's going to go there, find it. And now he doesn't have any of that. So where does he go? What does he do? He's got the armor. Is he going to return to his home planet to see Cara Dune and Greef Karga and take the Mandalorian armor to the armor? And maybe Boba Fett follows him. I'm not sure, but I think he's got to do something with that armor, and that he's got it.
Greg, what you got?
I'll go out on a limb here. I don't necessarily think this is going to happen, but I'll put a prediction out there that I'm just going to say I don't think it's Boba Fett. It could be any clone, and we have rumors of Ahsoka and all kinds of
Greg.
What if it's Rex, and you're going to have that introduced with Ahsoka one time because Rex?
He better have more gray.
Well, he's got a shaved head. Well, how's he going to have gray?
Well, no, the really big thing to point out Rex was the goatee with a gray goatee after Rebels. So
yeah, but you can always shave a goatee too. On a desert planet, I probably wouldn't have a beard. Just me personally. And I'm not saying that's it. I'm just throwing out a crazy prediction out there that is not Boba Fett, that it's a different clone, because it could be anybody. And we'll find out in the future. But I don't think we're going to see it next episode anyway. I think it's going to be a few episodes before you're anything about who that character is again. So.
Okay. What do you got for next episode in particular?
Next episode, I don't really know. I ruin stuff like this by going into it with expectations and stuff that I want, and I'm getting better about not doing that. So I'm not going to say anything. I don't. I just want to see Filoni and Favreau and all them do a great job like they've been doing. It's been a phenomenal series. Every single episode so far has continued that. I have no idea where it's going next.
Nathan?
I predict, and it's kind of cheating because I remember it from the trailer, but I predict that the Empire, or the remnants of the Empire we're getting, will be on Mando's ass. Because if you remember that first trailer, there's a peak where he's on the speeder bike, drops down the thing, and he's being chased by Imperials, and he's got Boba. And if you freeze frame it, you can see Boba's armor on the back. And we saw how he packaged that armor and put it on the back of that speeder. So it's kind of cheating because I remember it from the trailer, but I think the Empire, whether it be Gideon, the remnants are going to be on his ass this next episode before he leaves Tatooine. I don't know how they found out he was there, but that they're going to do, because we're going to have to see that speeder bike chase. So, like I said, it's kind of cheating, but that's my prediction for next episode.
I wouldn't say that's cheating. I think that's very observant and very believable. I mean, it does. I don't think it would take long to hear rumor or wind of the fact that a Mandalorian just single-handedly blew up from the inside a crate dragon. So
very true. Very true.
Travis, what you got?
I don't have much in the way of predictions because I'm not as adverse as you guys in Star Wars, but I have two questions that I've been constantly asking. Sure. First of all, are they going to find any other of the child species in this season? And will the child stay? He's a big part of the show, like big part of the success. That's all people talk about.
I don't know if you're going to find any of Baby Yoda's other species. Maybe that's the big cliffhanger at the end of season 2. And then season 3 episode 1 kind of deals with that aspect. Does anyone
before
else
you jumped on, Travis, we kind of addressed that this episode was really focused on Mando, and Baby Yoda was like kicked to the back burner, very, very little. So I think there's definitely a plausible reality where at the end of this, he goes off with maybe Ahsoka to kind of learn to find his people or whatever. And this series continues on brilliantly because, like I said, if you really stop and think about it, Baby Yoda was not the focus of this episode whatsoever, and was really a lot to the back burner, focus on Mando, his thinking, his resolve, and how he was going to do something.
Also, man, Ahsoka training a new Jedi?
That'd be awesome. And Mando's really, really quick to give up the child too. Like in the last, I watched those 4 episodes in a row. I watched those four episodes in a row, and he was like to Gina Carano's character, "Take the child." Then he was.
Well, he even did it in this one. He's like, just take care of the child.
And after all that, I thought it was super dick.
I think in this episode he was more doing that. I think in this episode he was more doing that just as a like, hey, keep an eye on him. I'll be right back.
I don't think the marshal even heard what he said. It was like, leave the child. Is that what you said?
Did anyone else think it was a dick move for him to take the armor? Like, why not leave it with that guy? Like, come on.
Oh, that's actually what Greg had said. Kind of.
We discussed it, but it was kind of just his creed matters more to him in that extent. So.
Oh yeah, you see it. Well, he was gonna die instead of taking off his helmet in the previous. So I mean,
this is true.
He's full blown Creed, a little bit too much.
So you don't have any predictions for season 2?
I'm not gonna make predictions when I have no idea. Like I'm just, I'm completely alive for the ride. I'm when it drops, I'm watching it, and this has hooked me. I'm very impressed.
So what I'm thinking is, I think the speeder bike chase is a very good opportunity. You might even see the X-Wings from this trailer in the next episode, just because
give it to me.
The New Republic kind of got word that the Empire is being active on Tatooine or Navarro. But I do think we're going to end up back on Navarro next episode at some point to kind of get Grief Karga and Cara Dune back involved.
Let's go.
In the show. Yes, they're side characters, but at this point, we kind of need to see where they're at and kind of where Navarro is, because Navarro was a wasteland at that when we left chapter 8. So it kind of helps set you back up for success in that extent. And I think Navarro is going to lead him to another lead on where potentially another Mandalorian is, or kind of say, okay, well, we know the Jedi used Ilum, so why not go check out Ilum? And that's how we end up on the Snow Planet next, or something of the sort. So that's kind of what I'm looking for. I don't think we're going to see Ahsoka until episode 5, just because I know for a fact Dave Filoni's directing that one, and I know he's going to want to usher her into live action. So
overall, not for the next episode, but overall, there's a really good possibility we could go to Concord Dawn, because Mandalore, the planet, might be stripped into a desolate wasteland, but Concord Dawn is the moon of Mandalore, where a lot of the remnants of the Mandalorian culture and all that have went. So I think there's a really good possibility that, he may not be able to go to actual Mandalore. Hell, maybe we see a decimated Mandalore. Maybe we actually see the planet, stripped, but I just think there's a real good possibility we could go to Concord Dawn, because if you're looking for people that might be able to help you, maybe you go to the place where the history, you could maybe find a library that tells of the great Jedi Mandalore War or something. I'm just saying that's just an overall. I'm not saying next episode, just an overall prediction. Yeah.
Maybe they sneak into Moff Gideon's ship and kind of get the records, because obviously he knew Din's name from somewhere. So
can't wait to see that Star Destroyer, because I'm calling that shit. There will be. Gideon has a Star Destroyer, and it's going to be beautiful and brilliant, and I can't wait to see it.
Yeah.
I have a question for you guys. So how do you feel about the sense, at least I get from the trailers, that he's avoiding, or Din Djarin is avoiding the New Republic and trying to evade them with the child? Do you guys think that all his problems would be solved a little bit easier if he just connected with the New Republic, was like, hey, I got this Force user, I know Luke was a Force user, I know, you guys got ties to the Mandalorians as well? Do you think that would happen, or do you think the New Republic would be like, just like swipe him and just be a little shady about it?
It's a great question.
I don't even think, he still doesn't really, I don't think he realizes the depth of the child's power, or like that he really can use the Force. I don't think the Force has been said, has it?
This episode it was.
No, you have it referenced in this episode. Thank the Force by Pelimoto. It kind of known as a religion.
The child's power. I'm just talking about, like, has anyone said that he?
They said it in first season about how, like, there's rumors of what exactly. I know they didn't call them. Did they call them Jedi?
They call them sorcerers.
Sorcerers. That's what it was. And
a sorcerer race called the Jedi.
So at this point, it's kind of almost still rumored, in the fact that, like, all that is long dead. So I think with the reveal of Ahsoka, learning about her, it may open his eyes a little bit, but I don't know if he would straight up just go to the New Republic.
Like, if what Taylor's saying, if he knew, if someone came to him and was like, this child knows how to use the Force, he is very powerful in the Force, he needs to be trained by a Jedi in the ways of the Force instead of a Sith, and he didn't go to somebody like Luke, like he said, I would think it would be crazy, but I don't think he understands yet the depth of what he's handling.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just literally stupidity or lack of knowledge because he just doesn't know. And once he does get wind of or figure it out, that's when everything's going to shift gears and change for him because he's going to know what he's dealing with. Right now, I think it's just pure ignorance. He just doesn't know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. Anybody got anything else?
That's it.
Okay. Taylor, tell us where they can find you.
Oh, you guys can find me on the Geekverse podcast. You can find me on Twitter at Field of Fields, I think I am, or Taylor Field. I don't remember my Twitter handle.
Taylor the Field, yeah.
Nice.
I will leave everyone's Twitter link down below in the description box. But Clay, tell us where they can find you and tell us about, obviously, Ranger Alliance.
Yes,
First
Ranger Alliance.
Today.
First episode is out today. The first 3 episodes of Mighty Morphin is what we reviewed. We also talked about the new TV movie universe that they are planning on creating. I talked a little bit at the end of the episode about the reveal of Brian Edward Hill being the writer of that movie. You can also find me at I know the handle for the Ranger Alliance. I know it. I'm just gonna have to look it up. That's how much I know it.
Ranger Alliance.
RNGRALNCEPDCST. Ranger Alliance podcast. I don't know why I made that so complicated.
I'll never remember that.
Ranger Alliance, it's super easy, along with everybody else in the Geek Ultimate Alliance network. And I have stopped doing my artwork for now because it is the cold season. It makes the paint a little bit harder. It takes it longer to dry. But I recently did a Darth Vader space one. So if you guys want to check that out, I can always send it to you. But you can find me there. You can find me at my own podcast, Fanboy Comics Podcast. And yeah.
Greg?
Oh, sorry, you caught me the on. You can find me on Twitter. That's pretty much it, man. Check me out there, and you can see everything I do. Part of the Geek Golden Alliance Network. I'm part of a number of shows and a few shows outside the network as well. Just look me up on Twitter, and you can find all the information for if you want to hear my voice more.
Travis?
Well, I was excited that you picked Greg first because I wouldn't have had to say the names of any shows, but Greg didn't say them, so somehow it worked out that I'm going to have to do a little bit here.
Sure,
so you can find me on Twitter at Travis_156. Drop me a line. We can chat about anything. And you can find me on 2 shows on the Geek Ultimate Alliance Network: DC Alliance, which drops Tuesdays, and Superhero Discussions, which drops Fridays. And they're co-hosted by Greg, whether he remembers that or not.
Nathan.
Love you, buddy.
Right now, you can find me here live every Sunday at 10 Eastern, 9 Central, whatever it is, what we're doing right now. And you can find me Friday nights on the Super Civil Service Podcast live. And if you want to talk to me or get a hold of me, just shoot an email to either one of these shows, or you can make one of these other lovely people here be the middleman. But as right now, just find me here because I'm off doing.
Yeah, I had to have a middleman conversation with you earlier this week.
Yes. That's all right. We eliminated the middleman. Now there's a direct line of contact now, so we're all good.
You can find me on Twitter at KGilstrap13. I will sometimes agree to be the middleman for Nathan, but it's only if I'm in a good mood. You can find this podcast, Star Wars Alliance, on Twitter at Star Wars Alliance without the A in the wars. And you can find us live on YouTube for the next 7 Sundays at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we'll be talking about each episode of The Mandalorian.
Muffins, Mando, and Mass.
Mando and muffins, Mando and coffee, whatever you want to call it. And then Star Wars Alliance does have a news show that will be every other Thursday live on YouTube, and it'll drop on Sundays with this episode in the podcast feed. Yes. So if you listened if you're here watching us live on YouTube currently, then you can go back in the past to find live YouTube or just listen to the podcast that will be past us talking. This is future us, but present us currently.
And also just a little side note, if you are only interested in hearing our Mandalorian reviews, you can go straight to YouTube and search out what is this on the Geekverse feed or were we on the Geek Hall? I don't know which feed. On the Geekverse feed to where you can find just this conversation if you want to skip the news or whatever, if you just want to see our beautiful faces here. But I'm just saying, if you just want to chop out the other stuff and only find this, you can go jump on YouTube and search it out also.
And I'll leave the time of when the Mandalorian conversation starts in the podcast description as well. So you can skip ahead there as well. So, but with that note, guys, thanks for joining me. Well, I appreciate you all taking a chunk out of your Sunday and talk Mandalorian.
Me too.
You have to twist my arm to do it, let me tell you.
Right.
I've got a great product with friends who know what they're talking about. Oh, I twist my arm.
Right.
Grab me, seriously.
Awesome. But whatever time of day y'all are listening, watching, we thank y'all for being here with us. And may the force be with you and have a great rest of your weekend. Bye, guys.
Always.
Later.
Bye.